Audrey, and welcome to my carnivore journey. I'm still in my early weeks of having a solid grip on carnivore. So as I'm going through and realizing some things that maybe I'd forgotten from before, or just learning new things that's making it easier to follow and stick with, I just thought I would share it with you. So here's my tips for today. All right, first of all, when people, like now I've started to lose enough to where people are saying, wow, what are you doing? You know, you're looking great. And I'll say, it is almost like I hesitate to say it because I know what they're gonna say. I'm like, well, I'm using this something called Carnivore, and I'm probably very apologetic with it. And they're like, oh, what is that? And I'll say probably the opposite of what you think would be a great program. I'll say it's, high protein, high fats, meat, eggs, butter, bacon, dairy. They're like, and that's it? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And the most common thing, even besides saying no fruits and vegetables, which that's what I was more prepared for, is, I need more variety than that. I don't think I could do it. The truth is, and I didn't make this up, you crave what you eat. So I was one of those people that, like when you would get a meat and 3 vegetables, and when I say vegetables, like macaroni and cheese, fried okra, all those were the vegetables that I could pick from. And believe me, I picked all of those kinds. But I could have done without the meat every time. I mean, I like it, I eat it, but I never craved meat. I did crave especially the fried and the carby sides, things like that. So you're talking to somebody that didn't care whether I ate meat again, but now that is what I eat, I crave it. And the fact that the other things are off the table for me to even choose from, it makes it much easier to zero in. These are my options. Which one do I want? And usually it is hamburger patties. I will crave those oftentimes like 4 days in a row. And thankfully, my husband is very easy. He's not carnivore, but he likes meat, so he goes along with whatever I fix for us. But anyway, you'll start to crave it. It's just like, think about whenever you have, holidays. There's probably some holiday foods that instantly come to your mind when I say Christmas or Thanksgiving that you don't have all year round. But the minute somebody brings it out, you're like, oh yeah, this is really good. I'm so glad to have it out here. And then you're hoping it's at the next holiday party. And then when you have one, you're like, oh yeah, let me fix some of those because, I've been craving that. You're craving it because you're re-exposed to it and you're eating it. The people that do the Kelly Hogan, she was talking about Dr. Boz's sardine diet, which I have not gone there yet. But she said she used to hate sardines, and she said, but I tried it, and she said, I don't know, now I kind of crave them every once in a while. So that is a principle to keep in your head. If you just keep eating these things, eventually that's what you're going to be programmed to eat, and you're going to be just as thrilled about it as if it were something else. I want to tell you my financial discovery. So people also say it can be expensive. Let me tell you where it's not expensive. I hope you have this experience. I had 2 recently. One was at a Mexican restaurant. I wanted the fajita steak. I did not want the onions and peppers with it. For one thing, it adds a lot of carbs. And second of all, peppers and onions, they do bother me, sadly, because I love them. But it just wasn't worth it to me, and I'm being very straight and narrow. So I asked them, could they bring me just the steak chopped up? And they did, and I got my bill. $5. It said steak, half portion. If I went again, I might get a whole portion, but for that night, it was fine. Then today, I went to Tzatziki's to meet a friend, and Tzatziki's it's pretty pricey. I like the salmon. I've heard the chicken's really good, and I thought, okay, I'm just gonna have to just toss these sides or see if my friend wants them. But I just happened to ask, hey, do you have like an a la carte menu where I could just get the meat? She said, yes. I said, great. Then I said, let me just try the chicken today. She said, okay, $4.69. That was my total with tax. So restaurants are surprisingly accommodating. I guess I didn't know to ask, so I just threw away the sides. But that would have been a difference in a $4 meal and a $12 meal. So Ask if you can get the meat a la carte. They will surprise you and do that sometimes. I know McDonald's does that with their hamburger patties too. Okay, when you're looking up, if you're starting especially, you're probably going to be looking at recipes or things you can eat on Carnivore. I want to give you a warning about something that I saw the other day and I experienced. I knew it. I knew this was not wise, but I did it anyway. And now I'm here to tell you about it. Okay, Bella, the steak and butter gal, she's fun to listen to, and she has some really good recipes. Her egg, you mix half scrambled eggs, half water. I can't remember what she calls it, but that really is very good. But she had a recipe for Carnivore ice cream. 2 ingredients, heavy whipping cream, egg yolks, okay? Now, cold and creamy, those are my draws. Those are my things that I have trouble controlling in the real world. But I'm thinking, well, it is almost zero carb, and I don't know, I've been doing good having higher calories because they're 0 carb. Well, then I started reading comments, and people were saying, it never hurts to throw some vanilla in there. I actually was thinking, that's true, that wouldn't be that big of a deal. Then somebody said, add a couple of packets of Splenda, and this is a great recipe. Then somebody, I love brown butter, said, I like to melt the brown butter and pour it over it so you get these little crunchy bits of salt in with it. Well, that really got me thinking because I was like, yeah, that would be awesome. So I make a half portion because I want to see what happens. I forgot the vanilla, but then as I was about to do my brown butter in the microwave, my eye caught my cinnamon. Now, cinnamon, even though it's not coherently sweet, does make me feel like I'm eating something sweet. I used to use it when I did oatmeal every day. That was my only sweetener in it, and it tricked me. It did a good job, and I thought, well, heck, I'll just do some cinnamon since I forgot the vanilla. So I sprinkled the cinnamon, I melted the butter, I poured it over it, and then I froze it. So day 1, I try it. I don't know, it ended up making way more than I thought because really I only did like even less than a cup of the cream. So I don't know, I probably ate about that much of it. And then the next day I did about the same. Well, the next day I woke up thinking about it at breakfast time. And I think I got a little bit with my coffee and then I was like, no, I'm done. Well, that night I came in, I was still thinking about it, and I thought, this is an old tendency I had before. Well, I'm just gonna knock it out. I'm just gonna finish it so I can quit thinking about it because really I was starting to think about it all during the day. I did. I went to bed. I really thought I was gonna have to get up, that I was gonna get sick. It was so rich and so heavy. But you know why I kept eating it? I really don't think it would have been that attractive except for the cold creamy. So I still think I'm not gonna make it again. But that cinnamon with the butter, it was good. It was delicious. It was like a little treat. And especially if you've been off sweets. And if you're just now coming off sweets and you try it, you're probably gonna think, no, this is not good. But when you've been off of them, I don't know, your body accepts things that aren't sweet as sweet, like fruit is incredibly sweet if you have a bite of one. So anyway, I want to caution you about that and like the oopsie cake recipe. I've made it. It's not that good, but yet in my head, I have legal cake right there. And I put it in the refrigerator, so it's cold. And it's not like the meats or even the bacon where I can eat it, put it down, and not think about it again until I'm hungry. My brain starts working on when can I have some more of that all during the day. So I don't know, sometimes you need stuff like that to kind of get you over a hump, but other times you're doing it for that purpose, but it can actually derail you and pull you back into some of that mental chatter. So beware of those types of recipes. Okay, the last thing is, I found this new freedom on a trip that I was dreading because I was so scared I wasn't going to be able to do it because there was a lot of great food opportunities on it. But I ended up kind of finding my way on that trip. That was 2 weeks ago. So I leave this weekend for a trip to the beach. It is with my very best friend. We've been friends for life. And, like I told you last time about the alcohol, it's not a big draw to me, but that is something, sitting on the balcony, maybe a strawberry daiquiri. And also, we don't go out to eat, but the things that we cook, and like she brings things she likes. She's usually a brownie baker, so she'll have those. So that tension, that anxiety started hitting me yesterday. But I've got to plan for success instead of fear of failure. So what are some things I can do? Well, first of all, I did say, look, you bring whatever you want, but don't put it in the kitchen. Just like put it in your room, and if you want to get it, you get it, but don't say, hey, I'm going to go get a brownie. Do you want one? She's very supportive, so she gets what I'm doing. I am the cooker. I'm the grocery shopper. I am in charge of what I bring into that beach house. So I went ahead and made my list for Walmart, and some things I had on there that were like I'm making salmon, and then I had a potato because I thought, oh, she'd probably like it if I cut the potato up and I did it in the oven with a little butter and salt. I thought she'd probably like that. Well, you know who else would like that? Me. And if I'm sitting there with her, I can just see myself grabbing 1, 2, and then you know where this is going. So I took the potato off the list because that's not something I don't think I can't do that yet. So, plan for success on the alcohol. Here's what I've decided. I've got sugar-free ways to make these drinks. She also is sugar conscious. She brings brownies, but she's a moderator, so she can eat 1 or 2 and then be like, oh, y'all take them home. But I thought, I may try some of my sugar-free drinks on her. And then if I really want to, I'm gonna say I can have 2 sips and give it to her. I don't even know if I want to use that. But remember, I need to know what my plan is before I go in there. If I have no plan and I say I might drink 1, I might not, then I panic when I get in the situation and all of a sudden I'm drinking more than 1, then I'm gonna be miserable sick the next day because alcohol and carnivores do not mix well at all. But a sip or 2, okay. I can say I was a little bit festive there and then pass it to her, and then I can drink one of my element drinks. I don't know what I'll have, but that's my plan. So when you get a fear of failure, whether it comes to a trip or an event you're about to have, think, how can I succeed? Most of the time for me, eat before I go. Eat before I go, and that way I'm not hungry. And it's almost like a little sign of pride when they say, oh, do you want one? Oh, no, I just ate. I'm not hungry. And it's like, yes. It's a little victory that I get to do. So anyway, those are some little tips that I have. All right, have a great day.